My friends, I hope you are prepared for the next story we have for you, and I hope you're prepared to I hope you're sitting down for this. With the amount of people that are estimated to be trapped in Afghanistan, be it Afghan allies, even the citizens, but American citizens especially, who we have a responsibility to as our our brothers and sisters, our as well as our Afghan allies for sure, and to humanity in general. There's estimates between 1,000, 2,000 at the low end, where they're like, oh, there's about 1,000 or 2,000 left of American citizens we got to evacuate. Some are saying that it was, NBC News reported 15,000, then they evacuated about 4,500, so it might be 10,000. When we hear, and I want you to remember this, that there are American hostages, I want you to remember what the Biden administration did. From Politico. U.S. officials provided Taliban with names of Americans and Afghan allies to evacuate. Quote, basically, they just put all those Afghans on a kill list, said one defense official. I don't see why that would be untrue for the Americans. Biden did this with Vladimir Putin. Remember that? He was like, hey, here's the list of things we don't want you to attack. Right. And they're like, thanks for the hit list of your most important infrastructure. Now they're coming out and being like, here are the people we really care about. And like, oh, so the ransom's doubled, eh?
Or not even the people we care about. Hey, by the way, here are these people. These people have been hiding. They've been begging for help. It was actually my old buddy from Washington Examiner, Phil Wegman, who's now with Real Clear. He was the one who asked the president today at the press conference about this report. He says, can you comment on it? And the president essentially confirmed it, saying there may be such lists being given to the Taliban, but I'm not sure. Which is, again, that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me that the commander-in-chief apparently doesn't know what's going on over there.
We've seen the Taliban beating people. There's a video of an Australian man. He's being beaten. He's covered in blood. The Taliban can claim whatever they want, but the leadership, like you mentioned just previously, Ian, that they want to be seen as, they do want to be seen as a legitimate government. They're calling themselves the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan. They don't want to be just this rogue element, the Taliban. They want to be the government, but they can't control their own people.
Right. Stuff gets leaked. Look, that list is going to get leaked.
Look, even if they want to be a legitimate government, I think the fact that we're losing sight of the fact that it's the fanatic death cult, and we are now completely at their mercy. We are, look, I can get down this road later. We are the greatest country, the biggest superpower. I love America, and we are completely beholden to the whims of a fanatic death cult in Afghanistan.
By choice. By Biden's choice.
And the fact that there's a question about whether this administration won't move earth and heaven to save its own citizens. Any country or a government that doesn't make every possible effort to rescue its own people is not a country that deserves to be one.
I got to read you this paragraph. U.S. officials in Kabul gave the Taliban a list of names of American citizens, green card holders, and Afghan allies to grant entry into the militant-controlled outer perimeter of the city's airport, a choice that's prompted outrage behind the scenes from lawmakers and military officials. It seems like the Biden administration is treating these people like any other country or government when they literally just stormed in, killed a bunch of Afghan security forces, started taking over cities, and they're like, yeah, here's a list of names for your checkpoints. Do you think that the Taliban checkpoints are legitimate checkpoints where they're going to be like, oh, yes, an American passport, right this way, sir? Or they're going to be like, we got an American. Okay, right that way, sir.
Maybe, to your point, they might for the Americans because they don't want to start another match. Who knows if Biden will actually make good on his threat and if that ISIS-K will be met with swift retribution. But those Afghan allies, those people are as good as dead. The Taliban will make an example out of them.
Oh, yeah.
Those people don't have a chance. Now they know where they are and they know they're coming.
This is the one thing that I think might naively be giving me hope, that the Taliban is scared. You start going after these American citizens, and you're gonna give them an excuse for re-entry, and they want the Americans gone. They want us out.
Right.
The Afghans who are staying behind, well, they're the apostates. They're
refugees. They should be admitted refugee status.
Oh,
our allies. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the translators, the families of the translators.
The fact that we didn't get them out first. We knew this was going to happen. We knew the Taliban would come after these people. Anyone with a target. We saw this in Iraq after ISIS came out.
I got it.
My brother served in Iraq as a U.S. Marine. And one of the first things ISIS did when they came to power and started marauding through the Middle East is they killed anyone who worked with the United States Marines. So a lot of guys my brother worked with are now dead. There's precedent for this.
But where we're at right now is that U.S. officials actually gave the names of these people to the Taliban. That's a kill list. That I agree with a defense official. Like we can say, we're crossing our fingers that the Taliban has enough control. They're going to say, get these Americans out of here before we cause more trouble. But this list of Afghan citizens who worked with them, they're done.
I mean, the Biden administration in this regard, I think, is correct, and is that we have shared interest with the Taliban. We want to leave, they want us out. So they may play ball to a degree, but the fact that here we are hoping and praying, please, fanatic death cult, play ball. I mean, we put ourselves in this. The biggest, most powerful country in the world, aside from maybe China, is put itself in this position, and now we're just hoping and praying. But I'm telling you, those Afghan allies, they are as good as dead.
You know how we put ourselves in this position?
How?
Trump was anti-elected.
Could you just explain that?
There was no enthusiasm for Joe Biden in the election. None. It was like 20% or something. Enthusiasm for Donald Trump was in the 90s. Enthusiasm against Trump was also very, very high.
Yep.
And so this is what happens when you say, we will literally vote for anything because the orange man is bad. We had a man in Joe Biden who couldn't talk, so they made up that he had a stutter. You go watch videos from Joe Biden when he was in the Senate. He doesn't have a stutter. He never had maybe when he was a little kid, I guess, fine. Now they're claiming that his inability to speak, his memory failings, it's just he's got a stutter. Stop being mean to him. No. People were willing to elect a man who was old and incapable simply because they hated Trump. And I mentioned this the other day. I genuinely believed there would at least be adults in the room. Like, okay, well, this happened, but there's going to be some adults in the room who are at least going to be like, when Grandpa falls asleep, I'll take this over and we'll finish up these documents and get a plan ready and just wheelchair him into the sun with a little burlap blanket on his lap. No, they didn't. And now I kind of understand what's really going on with this administration. That Biden's at the meeting and he mutters and stumbles and they all just kind of look at each other and go, whatever, because all I care about is me. Where's Kamala Harris when all this goes down? Don't look at me. She's gone. So now I genuinely believe that in this administration with Joe Biden, Milley, Kamala Harris, they don't know. They don't care. They're probably just thinking like, hey, man, I'm not going to do anything that puts me grants me the responsibility for this one. So if Biden mutters and falls asleep, we're just going to say fine. Because then when it all goes belly up, his fault, not ours.
Right.
Instead of being the adults in the room and being like, Biden, abandoning an Air Force base for an embassy is a bad idea. Mark Milley, what did he say? He said, I was ordered to guard the embassy. Did you maybe just think, Mr. President, we have to guard the Air Force base. How are we gonna evacuate people? No, he was just like, you got it.
Right.
White rage.
Right. I mean, these are career bureaucrats. Someone like Kamala Harris isn't going to risk everything she's climbed her way to the top to get in order to tell Biden no.
In order to save 20,000 people, yeah, she's not going to risk.
But is it really that
career?
Are they really that craven? I mean, to me, this is one of those things. I'm trying to think of like a parallel. No, it's too dark.
Now I want to know.
It's pretty dark.
Well, okay. Catholic sex abuse is such a clear-cut thing that the church should be fighting. I'm a Roman Catholic, by the way, so I'm not just dumping on the Catholic Church. The fact that it is struggling to deal with what is clearly a vile and evil thing, and it's turned into it's difficult sometimes. No, this is so easy. How are you struggling with this? Likewise, in a different thing.
All right, that's dark.
It's very dark.
Let's get back to the administration.
But it's something like that. It was like, how are you struggling with the question of getting every American out? This is so easy. This is so basic. Every major great civilization has put a premium on its own people, and the fact that they're actually using language. The one thing, watch this. Jen Psaki and all of them are using that weird phrase, that terminology, Americans who wanted to leave.
Right.
They're already laying the groundwork for the Americans who are going to be left behind because they can claim they didn't want to leave. Actually, the president said that today in his press conference. He said there were a lot who didn't want to leave because they got family. And the thing is, once America pulls out and Taliban takes over, who is going to double check that claim? A bunch of American journalists are going to fly into Taliban-controlled Afghanistan?
This is priorities. What has the Biden administration prioritized? Nation building. That's it. So when they decide they're going to be getting out, American citizens are not their priority at all. It's just, this was our priority. We're leaving. Fine. Everything else we don't give a damn
But how
about.
can it not be? Now, look, let's put the moral aspect, the way that it's morally decrepit, that they are dancing around this issue and hemming and hawing on the issue of saving Americans and Afghan allies. Let's look at the political issue. This doesn't go away. I know Reuters reported recently that the White House strategy is essentially to just wait this out. They think people will forget about it after it comes and goes.
Yeah, after
no,
13 dead.
This is going to be so much worse than. First of all, it already is worse than Saigon, and Saigon didn't have people with cameras in their pockets everywhere. Yeah. You had a couple of major news wires taking photos. Everyone is going to see this, and I'm telling you, if Americans are left and they're captured and they're made into propaganda tools and killed and executed, You don't weather that.
No, he's got to resign.
No, and then you have President Kamala. So
I know. I tweeted that. I said, with all the talk about impeaching Joe Biden, which would you prefer, President Biden or President Harris?
Oh, God.
Most people said President Biden. I know, right?
Can I just take the arsenic?
Right, yeah.
Somebody said, don't forget to include Pelosi, because if you get Kamala, I don't see grounds for impeaching Kamala.
Well, it turns into this whole weird thing where the Senate is already split, so I don't even think she gets the vice president because that's a lopsided vote. That's a whole weird thing on it. So that's a parliamentarian.
Well,
no, but we get into the issue. So what is the political angle? I can't look. The moral angle, we can maybe simplistically say they're just bad people, which I think is fairly true at this point. But the political angle is like, what are you doing? So I keep coming back to this: is why are we doing it this way? You are going to get killed in the midterms. You're going to get killed in the election. If there are images of mass groups of Americans getting executed, God forbid. Yeah. I'm not going to knock on wood like Joe Biden. Like, God, when he did that in his interview with George Stephanopoulos. Did you see that? He knocked on wood? Yeah, no. When Stephanopoulos was like, was this the best way to do it? And he's like, look, it's working out. And Stephanopoulos said, there's a lot of pandemonium. And the president, I'm not making this up, but look, nobody died. And then he continued. I was like, oh, God, you're actually knocking on wood. Literally doing it.
You want to know?
So politically,
you want to know
why are they doing this? There's no upside to what they're doing. There's no rhyme or reason unless chaos is the answer.
Because Biden is incompetent. He is well past his abilities to do this in his age, and the people around him are just sitting there waiting to scoop up the scraps. It's almost like there's no one there to actually support administration. That's why I say Trump got anti-elected, because this is not an administration. They're not stepping up and saying, Biden, let me take care of this. Let me try and fix some of this. They're just sitting there. I'd imagine Kamala Harris is sitting behind the curtain with a grin like, oh, it's almost my time. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.